Welcome to Tree Cycle and your very own tree cycle of life. We will show you how you can achieve 4x returns over time with your investment in our tree token. The tree cycle of life is based on natural growth and generates what we call a biological compounding interest effect. So, what do? We, the Global Tree Project, plant, cultivate, harvest, and sell eucalyptus trees for you as an investor. But not just any eucalyptus. The fastest growing hardwood tree in the world. It grows up to 7 meters per year. Now that's some serious wood. With the proceeds from timber sales, we acquire further areas and reforest them with eucalyptus as well. At the same time, we protect the native forest that still exists on the lands that we purchase. Existing trees and plants are not cleared or cut down as other projects do. On the contrary, with a small portion of the yields from the sale of eucalyptus, we regenerate the native forests and reforest them over time. And we support the local people and their families through social projects. Why are we doing this in Paraguay? Paraguay has lost almost 90% of its native forest due to overexploitation in the last 50 years, leaving fallow, over-acidified soil and isolated islands of native forest. Unfortunately, the areas are so destroyed that the native trees simply cannot proliferate. Our hybrid eucalyptus not only grow incredibly fast and thus generate profits quickly, they also enrich the soil with nutrients over time. Only after this process will it be possible for the jungle to spread naturally again in the future. This is where your tree and tree cycle of life come into play. As an example investment, we'll take 100 tree. These tokens entitle you to the profit yield of 100 eucalyptus trees that we plant on your behalf. Now, let's look at how an investment of 100 tree will produce 4 times the return over time. The first reforestation takes about 1.5 years and starts with 800 tree seedlings plus reserve per hectare. As you can see, some of the remaining native forest borders directly on our cultivated land. In contrast to the native forest, our eucalyptus has no problem with the nutrient-poor soil. From the 5th year, the trees are already over 20 meters high. That's record-breaking growth. At this point, we harvest every second tree so that the remaining trees get more light and space to continue growing. The harvested trees are sold, and you get 40% of your profit from the sale directly. 10% goes to the regeneration of the native forest and to various social projects. The remaining 50% of your earnings go directly to the purchase of new land and new eucalyptus trees. For you, this means another tree cycle is about to begin. From the 9th year on, the next harvest will take place. The trees from your first tree cycle are now about 30 meters high. 125 trees per hectare are harvested and sold. The trees from your second tree cycle are now about 20 meters high, and every second tree is now harvested and sold. From 50% of the yields, a new tree cycle of life is created for you. After 12 years, the trees on your first tree cycle are about 42 meters high. These are now harvested and sold. The complete area will be reforested directly afterwards. The trees on your second tree cycle are now about 25 meters high and will continue growing. The trees from your third tree cycle are about 20 meters high and will also remain. With 50% from the yields, however, another tree cycle is added for you. Already, 1 year later in the 13th year, it's time for the next harvest. The trees from your second tree cycle are now about 30 meters high and are partly harvested and sold. The trees from your third tree cycle are now about 20 meters high and are also partially harvested and sold. With the proceeds, your next tree cycle of life is created. From this point on, there will be harvests almost every year due to overlapping cycles. This means yearly distributions for you as an investor. And every year, there will be further reforestation. Now, you could of course ask yourself if there will be an end at some point. The answer is no. This is only the beginning. Because your tree cycles go on and on like this and build up your own profitable, infinite tree cycle of life. And with each cycle, the soil receives more and more nutrients again. The native forest now has the opportunity to expand naturally, giving animals and plants back their natural habitat. In this way, TreeCycle creates a win-win situation for you as an investor, for nature, and for the people. Start your own tree cycle of life now. Receive 4 times the earning power per purchased tree over time. Generate secure returns, protect nature, and do something meaningful against climate change. Simply register, buy tree, and start your own tree cycle of life.